Okay, today we're going to be unboxing and reviewing this. This is the Comica CVM-VS08. It's a directional shotgun microphone for smartphones. So up until now, I've been using this. This is not plugged into the camera capturing the video you're listening to right now, so you may notice that the sound quality is a little bit poorer perhaps than usual. This is the Saramonic iMic, and it served me quite well actually. It's compact, it fits in my pocket, and I use this plugged into my smartphone to capture most of my YouTube videos. Let's see how this device, which looks like it's a little bit more serious and professional, let's see how it compares. So let's get the box open and have a look at what we've got inside. Okay, so there's a manual. Some more paperwork there. There's the microphone, a foam windsock and a clip of some sort. There's something else down the bottom of the box there. Let's have a look and see what that is. Ah, right, okay. That's a furry windshield. Quite a big one. Right, so let's have a look at the kit. So the microphone itself, pop that out. Oh, it's actually metal construction, so it's not heavy, but it's got some feeling of quality to it. Okay, and there's a little plastic rubberized clip there. Doesn't come out very easily. Okay, and that's the foam sock. Let's see how that goes on. So that end is the microphone, so that just goes on there. Now, the thing that's different about this microphone is it has a monitor port on there, so you can plug a pair of headphones in there and you can listen to the audio that you're recording at the same time as recording it, which obviously isn't possible with most microphones that plug into smartphones. So that's a bit different. So there's the windsock, the foam windshield that goes on there. Let's just compare that in size to the Saramonic iMic. Quite a lot larger. Okay, and let's try on this furry windshield. Well, it's a bit loose, to be honest. Not sure if that is a good fit really for. It feels like it's been made for something a bit larger. It's elasticated so it would stretch over, and it just feels. I suppose when it goes over that ring there, it does actually kind of fix on okay, but I think you're going to have to put that on after you plug it into the phone. Okay, well, let's plug this into the phone and see what it's like. So I think we'll start with the foam one, and so I'm going to be using the Digi Mix just to test this so that you can see it on the camera. So that plugs in like that. Okay, and that can rotate, which I think is what this little plastic clip is for. So that goes onto there like that, and then that presses against the front of the foam there and stops it from tilting. Mostly. Okay, so let's fire up the camera and see what that's like. Now, I've just noticed a rather significant problem here, that the microphone is visible in the camera shot. So really that's only going to work if I'm using it the other way around like that. So if I'm filming something and I'm narrating, that's going to work okay. But if I'm actually trying to record the audio of the subject that I'm filming, I'm going to see the microphone in the corner of the shot, which is not ideal. Okay, and I imagine that with the furry windsock on there, yeah, that's kind of not usable. It looks like I'm filming it over the shoulder of a squirrel, which it's going to be a bit of a drawback, isn't it? So again, I think it'll probably be okay in cases where I'm recording my own voice, narrating. Oh, I don't know though. So if I'm recording my own voice, then, except it's kind of floppy. Oh, I don't know. This clip is not the best solution at keeping it from flapping around, really. So there's a lot of problems here. There's this is actually quite heavy to hang on the front of a microphone that's only secured in place by a little rubberized bracket and the jack plug. So I don't know, kind of a design flaw really there. So okay, so I think the next thing to do is we'll test this. So I did some sound tests comparing the Comica microphone to the Saramonic iMic, and I'm going to play those back to you now. This is my voice being recorded on the Nokia Lumia 735 inbuilt microphone. Testing 1, 2, 3. And this is my voice being recorded on the Comica microphone. Testing 1, 2, 3. This is my voice being recorded on the Saramonic iMic. Testing 1, 2, 3. Now I've already listened to those, and I don't think there's an awful lot of difference in quality. That may be a limitation of the phone, actually, rather than the microphone itself. So this might be, for all I know, a really good quality microphone, and there may be a limitation in the smartphone which restricts it from realizing its full potential. But that being the case, there's not much you can do about that, is there? So here's the interesting thing as well. So I plugged headphones into there, and I thought you were meant to be able to hear what was being recorded. You kind of can't. You can hear the audio that's coming out of the phone. So unless the phone was playing back at the same time as it was recording, which would cause feedback and all sorts of things, you're not going to actually hear the recorded audio. So it's not really a monitor port. This is more like you can be listening to music on your phone while you're filming something else, but I don't know really how useful that would be. Well, that's all kinds of problems with this device, isn't it, really? Firstly, it will only work on a phone that has a jack plug that is at the opposite end of the phone from the camera, because ultimately if you use it on a phone like this is a Digi Mix. The same is true of my Nokia Lumia 735 that you're watching this filmed on. The microphone's just too big and it gets in the way of the camera lens. And I contacted the manufacturer about this and asked them for advice, and they said to turn it around like this, which is fine actually. I mean, this works okay for me when I'm doing, I don't know, my nature mushroom videos or whatever, and I'm doing a narration of what I'm filming. But of course, if I was filming somebody else, and I pointed the microphone away from them, I'm not going to pick up the audio very well, because it is a directional microphone. That's the whole point of this device. It is a directional microphone. So pointing it away from the subject in order to clear the camera lens, not really a solution. So if you're going to use one of these, you need to have a phone that has the jack plug at the opposite end from the camera, which this one does not. And that's probably true of maybe about half of the smartphones on the market. The other thing is this is just ridiculous. That's far too big. It's bigger than it needs to be for this device. So there's just so much wiggle room inside of this windsock that's going to be rubbing against the microphone and causing noise of its own in use. Not to mention the fact that it's just so ridiculously big that it impedes plugging in the microphone. You'd have to plug that in first and then put that sock on there, and then somehow get your camera to see past that. And I suspect you could even have a problem here, even if you did have if your smartphone has the jack plug at the opposite end of the thing. I could see that you could even have a problem here if it's a wide angle lens, it's going to maybe see some of this. So I'm afraid this fur wind breaker is just ridiculous and pointless. The other thing about this is I get the impression that this clip here that steadies it and prevents it from swinging around in use, this feels to me like a bit of an afterthought. Like they designed this and tested it and then figured out, oh, it's going to swing around when it's being used, and so they've added this clip on. It just doesn't seem like something that was designed in from the very start. It's an afterthought, and as such it kind of works. It kind of works, but it's just a bit crude and a bit weird. So there we go. So I bought this from Amazon. I'll put a link in the description if you're interested in buying one for yourself, but take into consideration what I've said. You really want a smartphone with a jack plug at the opposite end from the camera if you're going to use this device. I guess it probably sounds like I've said some rather negative things about this microphone. It does look like it's a fairly good quality device, but I think some of the practical limitations of using it are somewhat stacked against that. So, hope that's been useful. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.